For the fourth part and last boss access to back record, I will be covering Ichgahal. This boss is by far the easiest to do from the Rotten Blood quest, and is one that is often farmed by people with 1 or 0 taints. However, for this, we are covering the actual quest, and going into this boss, you should have 3 taints by now. Wishing to spawn comes with a chance of teleports from the Rotten Man maggots, a chance of summoning bloodjust upon killing creatures, and now creatures can root and fear. This access, however, is also the easiest. As per usual, I will be covering how we did it, which involves killing creatures, but some teams prefer to run through it. Regardless, both end up waiting some time in the same spot, so let's get there. Right by the entrance to the southeast is another set of stairs, and you want to go down to -2. Everyone should rush to the stairs, and as the EK, I like to hold the spot near the stairs for the aggro of creatures, to make it a little bit safer for others, because even though it's a short distance, remember you can get unlucky and rooted by the creatures. Once downstairs, in this footage and back then, we will clear the 4 creatures by the stairs, click the mushroom, and then head to the right to hide behind walls. But nowadays, when we doing the boss for farming, what I do is lure the creatures to the left and then map click to the spot leaving them behind. This makes it so the creatures don't get near you and the walls are not necessary. However, again, because of the potential root, even doing that can be a bit dangerous and maybe unnecessary, just pointing it out. Regardless, once at the spot, we will wait until we have 46 charges, which takes around 9 minutes, and then we click the mushroom by the entrance again. After that, we will clear the creatures on the way to the boss teleport, which has 2 more mushrooms on the way, resulting in full charges by the end. But at this intersection, I recommend to run ahead and lure the creatures backwards. That is because on this room, there is a pillar which is a unique mechanic for this spawn, where it does an alternating massive weight that does 4.5k earth damage, so it's best to kill it outside of the range of it, which covers most of this path. After that, we run through, placing some magic walls by the pillar so that it doesn't hit the way to the south side, and I stop around this spot where it's safe from the wall and will have around 8 creatures or so. There is a mushroom before it which you can click on the way in or after clearing the pool, and then following the path southeast has a few more creatures with the last mushroom. Then simply wait by the portal a few seconds to get 100 charges and you're good to go, letting the EK in first and RP last as usual. For this boss, majority of damage your stake is death, since that is the AoE from the boss. However, the risk of dying comes from the unlocking placement of the mushrooms, which do life drain damage. So it's preferred to use a Necklace of the Deep and then Death Protection on the equipment, because you have time to react to the potential AoE attacks rather than almost instant mushrooms. Paladins should also wear life drain protection with some death protection on the equipment. As for the EK, it's mainly life drain with physical. With that said, the general mechanics of these fights are 2. First off, the boss as he walks leaves behind a trail behind him. At first, it looks like dirt, and then it grows some fungi on it. When it's on the first phase, it does a small amount of agony damage and applies the Hex Curse, which reduces your max HP and healing received and done. Not very dangerous, but if you step on the track when it has the fungi on it, then it applies a greater Hex Curse for 15 seconds. During this time, your max HP is greatly reduced and you also take less healing. This is very avoidable and is something that rarely happens, but if somehow the paladin steps on it, he needs to E-ring and keep it on for the duration of the hex, and when he recovers his base HP and heals, then take it off. Additionally, stepping on it turns it into a poison field, which will heal Ichgahal twice as much as the fungi trial, for 27k or 13.5k HP. Again, both are avoidable, so it's not much of a problem, just explaining the mechanic itself. The other one is the constant summoning of mushrooms by the boss. A maximum of 8 can be in the room, and depending if any of these is up, then the boss can only summon the missing number of them. However, because they disappear on their own after some seconds, it will still summon the 8 at once every now and then. Because of the random patterns, sometimes a bunch of them can respawn near the paladin, and that's usually when it's the most risky. For that, you must pay attention to the necklace and have enough charges for that. If you are low on charges and he just summoned a batch of mushrooms, then you have a few seconds to toss the one you are wearing and put a new one. Or simply use greater garlic necklaces for more safety, because each of these mushrooms does 2500 life drain damage in AoE, and the way they explode is on proximity. Standing next to one triggers them to explode shortly after, leaving enough room to run away if you trigger the explosion intentionally by walking into it. but if they respawn on top of you, then it's almost always a guaranteed hit, which is why most of the risks in this fight is based on that. Now for the Paladin's job, upon entering the room and taking the aggro of the boss, do a wide lap around the entire room. This is to give time for the EK to grab the blowjobs, and by the time you're back near the teleport, you can start doing a shorter lap. The best way is to do a closed rectangle by the middle of the room. This leaves room for the shooters on the wall to the south, and for one druid to be on the north side. The druid on the north is the secondary healer, which will be mostly healing the EK and himself. The one on the south is the main druid healing the RP and himself with mass res. During the kiting, you want to avoid stepping on the trials, and it won't be much of an issue if Ichgahal steps on 10 as long as their first phase. So long you avoid getting greater hex and keep a necklace on for the mushroom hits, then you are quite safe on the fight. Same applies to the mages. Now for the EK, while the paladin is doing the initial wide lap around the room, you will be near the middle waiting for the bludgers to spawn. The first two are quite fast, and the third one should respawn while the paladin is on the south side. Once you have the three of them, head to the northwest corner. This side only matters for the druid to go opposite of it. In our case, he stands by the southeast of my screen, and as long as he stands in the line of the avalanches, then he remains outside of the range of teleport from the blowjobs, and I can just stand still and utamo tempo while paying attention to the necklace. And whenever I see the damage numbers by the edge of the screen, I can toss an avalanche or GFP to hit the boss a bit. This is simply to get the boss kill to count in the boss theory. For the quest purpose and getting detained, hitting it once is enough and you can do the rest of the damage on the blowjobs and still get participation on the loot. Regardless, it doesn't hurt to toss a few runes when the paladin is passing by, and not that there is anything else to do honestly, because as I said at the beginning, this is the easiest boss even accounting for taints, which if you watch this video and are planning on doing only this boss for farming, then it's even easier and you don't need anyone to heal the EK. Since with no taints or just one, you can run back and forth in the north and sustain with Medaikos, and we still find it best to kill it the same way with shooters on the south when doing this boss on low taints. With that said, that's all I got for this one, and now with the fourth taint, all that is left is to face off Bakrakor, the final boss for this quest. If you found the video helpful, consider subscribing, and remember to come back for that Bakrakor guide. Thank you for watching and see you on the next one.